First up, I want to say that I'm very glad that I was able to get the week of Big Boys out in 1 week. For those unaware, that was my old upload schedule. 3 videos a week, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Secondly, that was just for the week of Big Boys. I'm going back to 2 a week starting now, Wednesday, Sunday. I have no idea how I used to do 3 videos a week anymore. That almost killed me. I wish I could go back to that schedule, but I feel like I aged 10 years by doing the WTV Grimlock. I'm not as spry as I used to be. And okay, I need to make something clear, because people keep messaging me saying stuff like, "Hey man, your curse kicked in again and there were new reveals today." My curse only applies to the day of my video, the day after, or arguably the rest of that week. And that third one is again arguable on how many days it covers. The point of my curse is that I make a video on reveals and immediately it becomes outdated. Eventually though, the reveals are going to happen again. I'm not psychic, I can't talk about figures that get announced or leaked in the future. If it's not immediately making my video incomplete, then eventually it does just become regular news. My curse is not that there will ever be reveals again, just that I make a video and immediately it's like, damn it, now people are going to be like, hey, why aren't you talking about this? For like a month. Anyways, let's look at some and hope that no new news comes out today. First up, let's talk about those terrible looking G2 figures with the coolest boxes in town. This is the weirdest damn thing. Unused prototype G2 Toy Colors figures. I suppose these have some right to exist. Much like the Mutant Tigatron, this is a thing that people saw in a catalog somewhere back in the 90s and have been probably confused as to why the released versions didn't look like this at all for a few decades now. And much like I think that Skyflyer should at least once have the true unaltered nose cone running down the whole front, obliterating the waist swivel, I also think that there should be at least once the unused G2 prototype color versions of these characters. That does not mean I want to buy these though. Like, I'm just not into Doritos branded jazz, I'm sorry. What exactly is supposed to be the draw here? Is it the box? Because damn, that's a pretty big draw. I legit only want this for the cardboard it comes in. That's so fucking stupid. By the way, when I went to save all the pictures of the G2 characters from Hasbro Pulse, you'll never guess what cursed information that it bestowed upon me. Remember back when we were all wondering what the Transformers capsules were? It's these, the G2 prototype figures. The pictures were all labeled capsule. I can say that I didn't see that twist coming, so Hasbro are better mystery writers than M. Night Shyamalan. The colors here are so boring. Why is there not 1 ounce of breakup on this guy? Like, especially the face. Why is the visor the same color as the face? Which is the same color as the helmet? Why would you make this look like an ice sculpture made out of frozen Sunny D? Give me some contrast here. There is not 1 complementary color on this dude. Everything is right next to each other on the color wheel. Interestingly, Jazz seems to be coming with a new gun, though I can't tell if it's fully new, or just one piece of Cliffjumper's overproduced cannon. Though you absolutely have to love that there's still only 1 single weapon port on the alt mode, so the new gun is going to have to be set off to the side when he's transformed. It's got the G2 logo, which looks extra crappy here, another victim of the far too harmonious color scheme, being yellow on orange. Why stop there, guys? Just make it orange on orange. And then it's just crappy in general. Am I the only one who feels like the original faction badges went way harder than these? There's just something so boring about the G2 ones. And the vehicle mode is just Jazz, the man who the 90s threw up on. Like literally, he looks like he's covered in someone else's blown chunks. Also, I didn't need the Doritos sponsorship to be real. Why does it look like the spew he got covered in has those tiny triangles of cheesy diabetes splattered throughout? I've said it before and I'll say it again, my birth decade was a mistake. Even if what makes me want this box so bad is the insane 90s-ness of it. Then you got this Dorcas cloud cover, whose name I keep forgetting because it's so generic. And while I will say that the colors on this are a lot more appealing, I will also say that there is not 1 thing you could do to the Earthrise Starscream mold to make me consider ever buying it again. And this is honestly making the best argument for it possible. The blue is slimming, so it doesn't look anywhere near as puffy, and it's a cone head with honestly the even worse G2 Decepticon badge on it. Seriously, I think this would look better if you would just get rid of the side pieces. Though at that point I'm pretty much just making my own logo, or the Urkin Army logo. Anyways, it being a cone head means that this has a variant of the transformation that's definitely different and probably better. But look, I just can't be brought to care about this bad update of the Classics 06 Starscream. That is a figure 3 years shy of being 2 decades old at this point. A mild update with a bit more posability and a worse transformation is not something that cut it back in 2020 3 years ago, and it cuts it even less now. The box is still dope, but god, I could not care less about this. And kind of lastly on the G2 figures front, we have the new re-release of the 86 Grimlock in G2 colors. And honestly, I actually think this looks a lot better than in the bullshit Diaclone colors that the actual G2 one had. Does this mean I'm gonna buy this? Probably not, but it will be a good way for a lot of you who missed out on this figure initially to get another crack at it. As with the rest of them, the box art is sick, and there's just a few things giving me pause on this that make me think it might be a slight retool. The dino fingers look different on the dino mode, and the toes look different on the robot mode, which might mean nothing since they are definitely opposed. The chest has a new symbol on the center of it, and the auto badge was a molded-in piece on the original, so that's probably some new tooling right there. And then the head design seems different too. So if I had to guess, this has a new head and a slightly changed chest plate, which is why they probably haven't shown this guy off like they did the others. And now truly for the last of this set, because they aren't the G2 line, but the Toxitron line. Toxitron. Stop making me want more of this mold with awesome repaints! It's good, but far from great, but all the repaints of him look so sexy. As much as black and red are always a crowd-pleasing color scheme, green and purple are a sleeper smash hit too. It's gaudy and awful and great! Fuck, why do I love this? And the green clear weapons look like flubber, and that makes my idiot brain happy. Truck mode could use a little more purple, but I love the wheels, and the trailer looks good too. God, as much as I hate the 90s, this is reminding me so much of toys from back then, and somehow that's appealing to me. Okay, now let's talk about the pretty solid deal that is the premium Megatron and Optimus Primal 2-pack. Like, these two suckers are painted to the nines, looking pretty fantastic. And together, they are costing like a combined $20 extra, which when they were selling Voyagers in the same line for leader price is a great deal. That's like basically half off. Interestingly, they seem to have finally found a use for the alternate Megatron head, and while I don't know if I'm personally going to get this set, it does seem like a fantastic way to get these two if you haven't already. The Megatron Beast Mode looks like they might have gone a little too hard on it. Like, he's got so many lines all over him that at a glance it looks great, but then you stare at it longer and it really becomes artificial looking. But the Primal Beast Mode looks like nothing but an improvement. Though man, I would kill for them to shave down the bean of a head to something like this. It doesn't make it perfect, but it looks a lot more like the character. Probably asking too much for the mad deal they're already giving us though. The long-rumored Guardian robot recolor of Omega Supreme has finally been revealed, and it looks great. I unfortunately don't have the space for a second one of these, so I won't be grabbing it myself, but a lot of people missed out on this thing, and honestly, the base mold is one of the best Titans out there. I would say that it's actually more fun than Trypticon, and between this and the Ark, there is no question. It's just way better. And before we get into the thing that I know you are all just sitting there gripping the sides of your chairs being like, why is he not talking about this yet? I am aware of the rumor that the Rise of the Beast Wheeljack is getting ugly Sonicked. There is a theory that he is having his head design changed to something less ugly. Hopefully it would be something that's more consistent with the previous movie the character was in. However, none of that is remotely confirmed at this point. It is literally just speculation, so don't get too excited. It could very well be proved to not be true. And hey gamers, guess what time it is? Before we even get into this, let me give you a reason to discount my opinion on this matter entirely. Some of you may already know this, but I fucking hate the High Moon War for Cybertron Transformers designs. They are my go-to for Cybertronian alt modes that turn into nothing. They're all just vaguely cyber-looking things on wheels, and that's it. And while I don't hate the robot modes as much as I tend to hate the alt modes, I will say that I'm not a big fan on the typical robot modes either, though my complete and total loathing of every aspect of their Grimlock design is unique to him, and I'm not anywhere near as opposed to the other characters in this style, other than Beakertron with his awful lower jaw that moves like he's a puppet of the Muppet variety. So all that is to give you a reason to say fuck this guy before I ask the question, is it just me or did the 2010 figures all just look better? I mean, I have the 2010 Deluxe Optimus Prime, and I actually specifically like that one a lot. Transformation is great and mind-bending, and as weird as it sounds, I kind of like the Cyber Oldsmobile Prime turns into, despite my lack of care for most other aspects of these designs. And I don't even like Oldsmobiles. I also think that the robot mode is better than on the new one. It's a bit kibbly, but the new guy is just so damn wide. He looks like everything but his head was stretched along the x-axis about 30%. Why is his head so small? He looks dumb, like he's just a dude curled up into a ball in the torso of the robot mode. And then you open up the doors on the chest to find that he looks like he's a knockoff with another Matrix that, please no, I don't want this. The paint job is very dull, the game model was slimmer, and this is not even remotely what his shins look like. Why the hell are these in set? Why are they in set so goddamn far? You can do the awful gun arm thing from the game, which is the first place I learned that I hate Transformers with gun arms, and while I actually kind of appreciate the alt mode, as it's still pretty in line with the old one, I don't like the fact that the bed is too tall, so there's no way that this could theoretically haul a trailer. But then we get Bumblebee, and fuck, that robot mode looks trash. He looks like he's pretending to be fat by shoving his arms out in his untucked shirt. The alt mode looks fine, but damn, that robot mode has zero fucks to give in the torso. Gotta love the name Gamer Edition. Apparently he's the first of the line rather than Optimus because for some reason Bumblebee is the face of this brand. God, Gamer Edition sounds terrible, though it does give me hope that maybe they're going to do a Devastation offshoot later. And lastly, we got the character who looks so unbelievably boring and generic that when the game introduced me to them as Barricade, it just erased all memory of the actual dude from my head. I just heard Barricade and was like, who the fuck is Barricade and why does that name sound so familiar? Brawl's there, so is he one of the Combaticons? That's right, this dude looks so generic that I had to question if he was a member of my favorite Combiner team, a group I know front to back, because I was desperately trying to place him. Oh, you are so boring looking, dude. You look like a generic background enemy you fight in droves. Your alt mode looks terrible too. Like if a car had to take a vicious shit, that'd be you. Don't even try to play with the warthog tusks either, you got no right. And man, I don't usually give a crap about peg tires, but those are some bad ones. Look, I'm glad that so many of you are getting designs of figures that you really like. You deserve to get what you want, but I dread having to pay money to buy these so I can make this show for you. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.